What's up everybody, SuperDrux fan here for another weekly update. So, lots of good news to cover this week. The first thing is that Chevrolet was out testing their new Z28, or at least that's what we're assuming it is. It was lapping the Nürburgring and was doing a really good job of it too, it seems, until it actually wrecked. And I'll include a link in the description below to the minor little fender bender it had where it went off track and bumped into a wall. Seems like pretty minor damage, but anyway, exciting that they're testing it. I mean, it looks super aggressive. I mean, it looks like the meanest Camaro they've ever made, and I didn't think they could get much meaner than the previous Gen Z28, but here we have the new one looking even crazier, and just very exciting to see that. Now, there's rumors they're going to have a twin-turbo V6 out of the ATS-V, but this one, when you hear it lapping the Nürburgring, it definitely sounds like a naturally aspirated V8, so I would assume they were going with the same engine that was in the last Z28, the 7-liter V8 that's, really nice, high RPM band and nice linear power delivery. That's probably what they'll put in it again. Who knows whether they'll go with the 7-speed manual out of the Corvette or stick with the same 6-speed manual, but either way, seems like it's going to be an amazing car, and so very excited to see that. Another thing that was pretty cool to see this past week was this Shooting Brake GT86 concept, which was actually done in a 3/4 clay model version last year, and it was shown to Mr. Tada, who is considered the father of the Toyota 86 and Subaru BRZ, and he was so thrilled by it that he commissioned Toyota's Australian division to actually build a actual working vehicle, a prototype of it, and it looks amazing, as you can see. Now, there's speculation as to whether they're actually going to build this or not. They're stressing that it's strictly just a design study. It's just to see people's reactions to it and whatnot. But with Mazda making a hardtop version of the, or a Targa version, I should say, of the Miata, doing a shooting brake version of this, they said especially for Australia, it makes a lot of sense because they like hauling around surfboards and whatnot. Sounds a lot like California as well. So I could see this working in a lot of places, and I don't know, some people have mixed feelings on the looks. I think it looks good enough. It's strangely based, I think, because they've been working on it the past year, it's based on the current generation GT86, not the new Toyota 86 here that has the restyle that we just saw at the New York Auto Show. So, but still looks good. I think, if you give it the new, updates that the 86 got, it's going to look even sharper and be a really cool looking little hatchback that I think would be fun for a lot of people to own. So very cool to see that. Some other very big news this week is that it's official that Nissan has bought a controlling stake in Mitsubishi Motors, 34%, which gives them control over Mitsubishi, and it's pretty crazy because Mitsubishi's just in the past couple of weeks here with the dramatic turn of events with the discovery of them altering their fuel economy numbers in Japan by overinflating their tires for the testing, which I don't think is that big of a deal, but it's like this big ordeal now, and so Mitsubishi's in all this trouble. So Nissan is stepping in and buying 34% of the company, which is a really, really big deal. And so this is strictly, mostly Japan and all their concerns currently. So I'm not sure how this will affect us here in America, whether Nissan will absorb Mitsubishi models, or it's not a total buyout, it's only 34%. So I think they're still going to be their own separate companies and just, kind of have some influence with each other, and they're going to probably share some platforms, things like that. I don't think it's going to be the end of Mitsubishi here, but who knows what will develop in the future. Maybe Nissan will eventually take over the entire company. In some more positive, exciting news this past week, Clarkson, Hammond and May have officially announced the name of their new show. It's going to be called The Grand Tour, and it's only going to be on Amazon Prime. There was talks of them doing something on Netflix, but now it's not, although the actual new Top Gear will be coming to Netflix here, but as far as their show for the Amazon Prime, it's only Amazon Prime, but it's going to be awesome. It's called The Grand Tour, and the premise behind it is that it's going to be basically touring around the country or possibly around the world. They're going to have a giant tent where they're going to be like broadcasting the news portion or whatever portions that they're going to be filming in some kind of studio. It will be a mobile studio, and they'll be going from place to place whenever they're filming each episode, which is a very cool idea, and sure to have more of their same shenanigans and whatnot, and they said it'll be available, it'll start airing in the fall. So exciting for that, can't wait for the fall. It's going to be great to see those three back on television again. Back to some car news. Mini this week announced a special version of the Cooper S here called the 7 Special Edition, and as you can see here, it pays homage to the Austin Minis, the 50 years ago and whatnot. And so that's kind of, it's just a special, colors and options package. You can get them in a variety of different colors and different trims for the interior and whatnot. And this is the first of, I'm sure, will be a long line of special edition minis here that they like doing for each generation. And so anyway, cool to have options, so great to see those. Another special edition car that was announced this past week was the Ram 1500 Stinger Yellow Edition, which is much like a Rumblebee version of the Ram. And as you can see, it's just yellow, has the black accents, and we just have the one picture, and that's it. So I'm assuming it'll be, basically the same, just a special paint color and stripes there, but cool to see it nonetheless. Other interesting Fiat Chrysler news this past week was the Fiat Chrysler CEO. He likes spilling plans and whatnot. And anyway, he was talking about the factory that builds their cars and things like that in Canada. And he was saying that the new the next generation Chrysler 300 could be based on a front-wheel drive platform. And he was talking about this when they were discussing other plans and things like that, and that kind of just like slipped out. And then he backpedaled a little bit after he started getting more questions about that, and he's like, well, we haven't confirmed anything yet, we haven't committed to anything, it's just, that's what they're thinking is what they're going to be doing, because I'm sure, that'll help them with getting better fuel economy and things like that, I suppose. Could bring it under the same, they said they would build it on the same platform possibly as the Chrysler Pacifica minivan, and it also could be an opportunity for them to differentiate the Chryslers from the Dodges, which are still currently, the rear-wheel drive, of course. So not sure, if that's actually going to happen or what. I think it'd be sad to see them go front-wheel drive. I think that's what was a downside to so many Chryslers over the past, 30 years or so in the dark ages and whatnot. So I'm hoping they stick with rear-wheel drive, but who knows? And again, just all rumors for now. Other Fiat Chrysler news is that they officially trademarked Kamal, or Kamal, I don't know how you would pronounce that, but it's going to be their new crossover SUV, most likely for Alfa Romeo. We know that the larger one has been already confirmed. It's going to be called the Stelvio, but that name hasn't been trademarked, strangely enough. So maybe they're doing a name switch after they've already confirmed the other name, or maybe like I said, this is just a smaller version, smaller SUV for Alfa Romeo. Who knows? I mean, we still have yet to see any Alfa Romeo products here in the States. They keep being delayed and whatnot, so not even worth thinking about this too much just yet until we actually see stuff start to materialize. But yeah, they trademarked that name, so interesting nonetheless. And some interesting news from Jeep this past week is it's been confirmed that they're working on a new turbo 4-cylinder engine that'll possibly be going in the Wrangler first, but this engine is currently being called the Hurricane, and it'll be a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. They're saying it would do 300 horsepower in the Wrangler, and could possibly, even be altered in different ways to make more or less power in different applications. They said it could also be used in a smaller sports car or sport hatchback, things like that. What I'm thinking is, it's been a while since we've heard any rumors, but there were plans of them doing some kind of Dodge Barracuda or something smaller than a Challenger to actually compete more directly with stuff like the Mustang, be a little bit cheaper. And we know, that especially now with, the downsizing and the fuel economy and all kind of stuff, making a smaller, lightweight Barracuda that's been rumored to use either like the twin-turbo V6 that they have or possibly turbo 4-cylinders, that I could totally see that working out and them making an EcoBoost Mustang competitor, because the EcoBoost Mustang is selling very well, even despite a lot of people not liking it in the muscle car world and whatnot. It is selling very well, and I'm sure that Chrysler would like a piece of that pie, and so if they can bring out a new Dodge muscle car, pony car type thing that has, these futuristic turbo 4-cylinder, turbo 6 engines in them, I think that would do very well for them. And they could still, obviously, of course, still have the Challenger with all of its mighty V8s and its large proportions for those that want the traditional old school stuff, but then you could also take the Barracuda into a futuristic direction. Other interesting engine news this past week is that Honda has patented an engine with multiple cylinder sizes. So it's a really interesting thing. Now, this was patented back in 2014. It was just published, I guess, a couple of months ago, and now it's seeing the light with the media and whatnot. And it's really interesting. So, traditionally in every other engine ever made, you have, for example, a 4-cylinder engine. If it's 2 liters, each cylinder is 500 cc, and it makes the 2 liters of displacement. But this is giving examples of having 4 different displacement sizes for each cylinder, having like the outside ones being a little bit smaller and all being different sizes, and then having the middle ones being bigger. And the main reason why they want to do this is for smoother cylinder deactivation, because currently, like for example with a V8, if you have cylinder deactivation, it just lobs off for the cylinders and you're running on 4-cylinder power, and it's a very abrupt change. And I mean, I think manufacturers have been pretty smooth in their application, but it still gives you half of the power, and that's it. And it's very abrupt and kind of crude, I guess, now that you think about it. And so what this is aiming to do is give you, even if you had individual cylinder deactivation, and for example, a 4-cylinder engine, you could have 4 different displacements depending on how many cylinders you had firing. This is saying that, if you have 4 different cylinders that are all different sizes, you can have 15 different combinations of displacement. And so it stands to reason that, if you could have various ones firing at different times, and so you can maximize efficiency and only have the big ones running whenever you need them running, have the smaller ones running, whenever you're on light load situations, and you can shut down more of them, and you can make it smooth and make it gradual. So instead of it just dropping off and immediately having half the power you had before, it would be like, 75% power, 70% power, and you could have all these different variations. So maybe, for example, you would have cylinder deactivation all the time unless you were full throttle. That would cause the car to fire on all 4 cylinders at maximum power. And so it's a very futuristic thing, and I think it's a cool idea to allow people to, car companies to make exciting engines that will still be very, very good on fuel economy. And so really exciting to see that. Other engine news, lots of engine news this past week. Porsche has just officially unveiled a new twin-turbo V8 engine that the reports here don't say exactly how the displacement is, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 engine that Porsche has designed that has 549 horsepower and 567 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot for an engine of that size, honestly, and could be pretty impressive. They said it would be used, of course, in the Panamera Turbo and also in the Cayenne, but could find its way into other products. And they said this Porsche engine could end up in Audis. And the last Audi and Volkswagen news of this past week is that, Audi, the whole Volkswagen group with their, whole Dieselgate scandal, I think they're rapidly trying to get away from that and just go towards electric stuff because that's very clean in everyone's eyes, and it's, a great solution to all the environmental stuff. And so they're pushing the electric stuff really fast, even faster than previously planned, I think. So Audi this past week announced that they're going to be doing a new electric model every year starting in 2018, and that the first one is going to be the fully electric crossover, much like the e-tron Quattro concept that was shown in Frankfurt last year and also in Detroit this year. Something along those lines will be coming first, but then every single year they're going to have an electric car. And they said that I think 1 out of every 4 Audis will have some kind of plug-in electric element to them by 2025. Other Audi news that they announced during this same time is that the new Audi A8 will be coming in 2017, and it's going to be semi-autonomous. It'll be able to fully drive itself up to 37 miles per hour, and they say fully autonomous stuff for them will be coming by 2025 is what they're envisioning. So cool to see that. Still I think a little bit behind Tesla and a few of the others with the autonomous stuff, but Audi is a very smart company. They know what they're doing, so I'm sure they don't want to rush it, and so that totally makes sense. And I still enjoy driving, so I'm not rushing the autonomous stuff anyway. And the last story real quickly is there's rumors here that the Buick Verano will be discontinued as soon as the 2017 model year, most possibly. It's not totally confirmed yet, but that's what the current thinking is. The main reason behind this is just that with the Encore, their little super small crossover being priced almost identically to the Verano, it's not that much more expensive for someone to go into a crossover, and everyone in America currently is obsessed with crossovers, and so everyone's choosing the Encore over the Verano, even though the Verano is selling better than the Regal does. It's too close to competition, I think that is what they're thinking here, and they just are Buick is fully putting all their cards into the crossovers and the SUVs and stuff. And they said no one wants a small fuel efficient car anymore because of the cheap gas prices here in the States currently. And so they're considering discontinuing it. So we'll have to wait and see if that does actually happen. Buick isn't saying anything officially yet, but I could see that happening very easily. So anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So I'll send it over to me in the car. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the weekly news. Other things though, I'm back in the Mustang here. It's a very sad day today. I had to give back the CTSV, unfortunately, and that was tough to do. That was by far the most fun press car I've ever had for sure. And so hopefully I'll be getting some more sweet stuff here, in the future, maybe this summer or in the fall. But in the meantime, that'll be the It'll probably be the sweetest one for a good while. So, but still was fun nonetheless. Next week is going to basically be CTSV week. I filmed a point of view video. I filmed a video with my buddies in the back seat, and we were discussing the car and their reactions to the acceleration. Of course, the review will also be posted up in addition to a probably a pretty short sound video that I did of the car, just to give you some revs and some acceleration sounds and stuff straight from the GoPro there on the exhaust. And so that'll be good. But yeah, so basically next week will be nothing but CTSV videos. So those of you that don't like the CTSV, I'm terribly sorry, but I feel like there's very few people that don't like that car, and it was spectacular for sure, and was even better than I expected it to be. So that's what's new with that. Otherwise, yeah, just the Mustang. This is my first time driving it since about 2 weeks ago, and so I still love driving it. It's still fun. I'm still paranoid about this engine, but I think my paranoias are getting a little bit lighter, and hopefully daily driving this car here for about the next 2 weeks or so until I get another press car, it will be nice to drive this thing, because I do miss driving this, honestly. I walk by it in the garage, and I miss driving it, and I do enjoy driving it whenever I do. It's still it's not fun to have that paranoia and having that nervousness about this car. But like I said, hopefully that will get better with time, because I still do want to keep this car for at least another year. But yeah, otherwise, one thing to mention, just because I did drive it a couple weekends ago and I forgot to mention this, and haven't talked about it since, but that is that I think I have a new rattle that's developed. This car seems to be slowly getting a little more rattly and a little more creaky. I think it certainly doesn't help that this exhaust is very loud. By the way, that's why I'm wearing my lavalier microphone here while I'm talking, because I know in the past few videos I've done of this car, there's been a lot of drone with the Cobb turboback exhaust here, and some of you complained about that. Hopefully it's better here with the lavalier mic. It's just an experiment. We'll see how it sounds. But yeah, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, I mean, I think because this exhaust is pretty loud, that's one of the reasons why this car is a little more rattly than probably a stock one would be. This exhaust is pretty loud, I do have to say. It's not overbearing, but me personally, I'm not into extreme modifications as much as a lot of other people are, and so for me, it's probably, if I could go back, I would probably make it a few decibels quieter. But overall, I still love the sound of it. It's still, I like the crackles and the pops. And I'll probably do another sound video on this, because I did one when I first put it on. I think it's been broken in a little bit since then. And I want to do another, exhaust video of just showcasing how this car sounds and stuff. It definitely does sound better in person than the videos, that's for sure. And I still do like the way it sounds. Sounds very much like the Focus RS, honestly. But yeah, so that's just about it as far as all the updates on the Mustang here. The last thing, I did just recently pass 28,000 miles. So I'm at 28,037 miles to be exact. And so yeah, I mean, it's holding up well here still. And not much new to report, aside from I do have another small modification I'll be installing maybe this weekend, and might try and fit that video in at some point. Quick little install video. It's pretty simple, straightforward, but I'll be posting that up hopefully next week at some point. And so yeah, it's finally an appearance mod. It's a minor one, but a small appearance mod, make it a little bit cooler looking. But yeah, so that's it as far as all the updates on the Mustang, guys. So I'll leave you with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Alrighty, here we go. We'll do a second gear pull. It's so crazy how fast this thing gets up to speed still. It just blows your mind, because it doesn't actually feel that fast in the G-forces area, but then you look down at the speedometer and you're like, holy crap, like, that's way faster than I thought I was going. So always a good time. Still love this thing. It still is running absolutely great. So fingers crossed it keeps up with that. Yeah, and over the course of the next 2 weeks here, I'm thinking about doing a point of view video of it. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I'm also finally considering another how to drive manual video, because there are a couple of differences between this and the BRZ that would be worth highlighting. And I know that a lot of people in the past have wanted to see another one of those videos. So I figured it might be worth doing, just for those that are newcomers to the channel and, want to see a newer video of that type. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.